Software English student here, and today we're going to be talking about casting. So first we're going to be talking about casting of primitive types and then casting of complex types. So if you remember back to one of my first videos, we talked about primitive types, and the primitive types are like the integers, the doubles, the booleans, the chars, and the very simple stuff. So first we are gonna create a integer a which is equal to 1. And now we want to change this integer to be a double, which is double b equals a. So now we got a version of our integer a, which is b, which is the double version of the integer a. And we could just simply print it, and we would just simply get 1.0. So it's the double version of our integer. But if we want to do it the other way around, having first a double, a equals 1.5, and we want to change the double into an integer, we get an error because the program is telling us if you're going from 1.5, a double, to an integer, you would lose some information. So if we actually want to do this, we need to do what's called explicit casting, where we tell it is an integer. So we want an integer version of a no matter what, even if we lose some information, because now if we print b, we would get 1. So we actually lost some information. And it doesn't matter, it's not rounding up or down, it's actually just removing it. So if we had 1.8, it will still just print a 1. So that's the basic of primitive types. Now we've got the complex types. So I have pre-created an animal class, which is going to be, let's remove some stuff. We're not going to need that. Some attributes, some variables, a constructor, and an eat method. That's our main focus. We also got a toString method, which we will be talking about in the next episode. So, but for now, we've got animal class and got an eat method. The animal is printing eating. And then we've got a bear class, which is extending animal and overriding the eat method, and now printing bear eating. But it also got its own method called bear things, which don't exist inside the animal class. So first of all, we would create just a normal bear. Bear equals new bear, call him Jim, and he's 3 years old. So now, if we wanted to change our bear, into an animal, because the first one, for example, if we wanted it to add to a list that all consists of animals, we still want it to be a bear, but we want it to be like the main type be animal. We could just simply create a new animal and call it animal bear maybe, and just set it equal to a bear. And that would be fine, because like the numbers, when we're casting up, we're going from something simple to something complex to something more simple. It doesn't matter because we're not losing any information. But there's pros and cons, and not really pros and cons, but it changes things, because now we can only do the animal methods, so only the methods inside our animal class. So we can only do eat or toString. We can't do bear things anymore. Let me show you. Because if we now do animal bear things, if I could spell, it doesn't exist. So we need to do, if we want to cast the other way, so for example, and this is when we've been working with polymorphism, the same as just doing it in one step, just doing an animal up here. That's the same, that's actually what we've been doing previously. We've actually been creating a bear object and casting it to an animal. But if we wanted to do it the other way around, so if we wanted, for example, to be able to actually use the bear things method inside a bear class, even though it's not inside our animal class, we would need to do some casting from something simple to something more complex. And here the problem, like with the numbers, we risk losing some information, so we need to do it explicit. So we would do bear. We can do it in 2 ways. We can actually just create a new bear object, which is called bear1 equals bear. And as like before, we're gonna get an error. It's telling us can't do this, or at least be careful, you could lose some information. So to fight this problem, we would do our explicit casting and simply do, or like tell the program that we actually want to create a bear. There we go. And now we would be able to use our bear things on our bear one. What we could also do is we could be creating a explicit call, so we could create inside parentheses. We would do the explicit casting and bear. So we are getting a bear version of our bear object, and we would just on this one could be able to call the bear things. So instead of creating a new object, we could just, in this specific situation, we could do this. And what we actually like to do is actually do a check. So we would do if our bear is instant of, or of bear, then we would do this. So we would actually often we would like to make sure it is before we do it, because this could cause an error if it's not. But in this case, it shouldn't change anything because bear is an instance of bear, which is again through our hierarchy. Again, because bear is a subclass to animal. But this is the basics of casting. Hope you enjoyed the video and see you soon.